Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Naveed Khan and I'm a GP in Ireland. I have applied for the specialist pathway as a GP in Australia through the new pathway, which is the AHPRA Expedited pathway for specialist GPs in three countries, namely UK, Ireland and New Zealand. So this is a new development which has only started being effective since 21st of October 2024. Nearly 4 weeks or 4 weeks. There are so many questions. There is so much information about this new pathway. To be honest, I have struggled at times how this pathway will be effective, and then what are the forms needed, what are the kind of documents needed for this pathway, and what kind of work-based assessments are done, and what kind of registration it will lead to, and what kind of restrictions will be imposed when we get the registration. I've tried to summarize as much information as possible. This is purely based on my own experience and by looking into the AHPRA website. So for any kind of unique situation, you may have unique situation, you can always double check for any information that I've given in this video. However, up to this date, the information that I'm providing is up to date, but it can change, so always better to double check everything on the AHPRA website. This pathway is mainly for specialist GPs who are working in the Republic of Ireland, UK, or New Zealand. There is this will further open up into other specialties in aesthetics, obstetrics and gynae and psychiatry by December 2024. So for these three countries, what are the requirements? So basically any membership or fellowship and the training in general practice. For Ireland, it has to be from 2009 onwards, and for UK it has to be from 2007 onwards, and for New Zealand it has to be from 2012 onwards. The rest of the requirement is much the same. You need to provide your CST document and the MICGP or MRCGP or FRNZCGP document. For UK, they were requiring a letter from the RCGP. However, as per yesterday, based on the discussion between AHPRA and GMC, it's no longer required. This letter is no longer required, so that's why I put a cross there on the letter. However, you still need the CCT document. What kind of registration would you be given at the end after the application is processed? You'll be given a specialist registration. However, there will be certain conditions for at least 6 months, and there will be certain requirement that you have to provide to be able to get orientation to the Australian healthcare system and cultural safety education. Now, the whole registration process, if you haven't done any of the Australian Medical Council, you haven't created Australian Medical Council account, that's step number 1. You cannot start this process with AHPRA directly. You have to go to Australian Medical Council for primary source verification of your primary and specialist medical qualifications. AMC will look for your MBBS degree and also your MICGP or MRCGP qualifications. They have to be verified by EPIC, so you have to go to ECFMG to verify your qualifications. And then after you have taken these 2 steps, you can apply to AHPRA for the registration process. Now I'll discuss about what kind of form is needed. Registration form is needed. However, you have to note here that you can submit your supervisor details and supervising plan, and the forum name is this one, SPPA00 form. This is on, you can get this from the AHPRA website. Now, one of the options is you can submit this at the start of the application process along with your application, or you can submit it later if you don't have a job offer now, or you're not sure about your job offer. You can submit it later as well. The other important question is, does this pathway lead to fellowship? The answer is no. RACGP has clearly mentioned on their website that it will not lead to fellowship. For fellowship, you have to go through RACGP through the PEP pathway. However, you can keep going on the two pathways at the same time. So you can be on the expedited pathway and on the fellowship pathway as well. However, it's going to be a bit costly, but it's totally up to everyone's own priorities. So the application forms, so if you don't have any registration with AHPRA, you can submit this form AGSP30, or if you are currently on a limited or provisional registration, you can submit through this application ASPC30. How much is the cost of processing of the application? It's about $1548, more than what would be through the standard pathway, which is around $1,000. So it's a bit, it's around 500 more than the normal fee would be. And the processing time for the registration is 4 to 6 weeks. However, it's quite new pathway, so the processing time may vary from person to person depending on the application. If there are any deficiencies have been notified by AHPRA. What kind of documents are needed? Now, there's a long list. There's a tick box at the end of the application, AGSP30. However, for me, what I have summarized from this, the identity check documents, you need 3 documents to identify your for identification purposes. For me, I submitted my passport, driving license, and a national ID card, and I certified them by Notary Public. The other thing that I was asked to submit to be certified by Notary Public was CSCSD document. The third thing was the criminal history check. Now, you need to have criminal history checked by AIS, and there's another vendor as well, the two recommended by the AHPRA. So once you apply, you pay the fee, they will give you a reference letter which you have to submit with this application, and they will send their report in a few days. But once you have the reference letter, you can go ahead with the application process. Number 4 thing is certificate of good standing from all countries where you have been working or registered in the last 10 years, and this certificate of good standing has to be emailed by the consul to AHPRA directly to the email is shown in the yellow. The number 5 thing that I was asked by AHPRA was the English proficiency. So the reason for this was because my primary degree is from a non-English speaking country, though I have been working in Ireland for the last number of years. However, they didn't accept my working experience for English proficiency, so I had to appear in PTE exam after I submitted my application, and I got the required score. The other thing is CV as per AHPRA template. There's AHPRA template available on the AHPRA website, where you have to enter your experience and education details to that. Now, there are some other requirements that may be unique to your situation, so you have to tick the boxes on the application. Now, once the registration is granted, there will be conditions imposed on the working conditions, which would be that you would have to work in a supervised practice. Level 3 supervision will be required, and you would have your orientation and cultural safety education. This can be achieved by doing a course. Once you start working, then at the end of the 3 months you will submit 2 reports. One is the OREP 30 form, and another one is the TSPR. So you have to do these forms. These will be done by yourself and your supervisor. Then after 3 months, at the end of the 6 months, there will be another report, the same ones, OREP and the TSPR. Plus there will be additional assessments done, which will be one will be the multi-source feedback assessment, and the second one could be from any of these 3. So it could be either a case-based discussion assessment form, or the second, it could be a CEX assessment form, or the third one, direct observation of procedural skills assessment form. So you have to choose between these 3, and this one has to be done, multi-source feedback, and one from these 3. Once these assessments are just completed and you had all your reports done in the first 3 months, at the end of the first 3 months, and then at the end of the 6 months, you can apply to AHPRA through this form ARCD00 to remove the restrictions. And one thing I don't know, how much is this going to cost. There is very little information how much is the multi-source feedback assessment going to be cost us. There's very little information, but I would be updating this information in the comment box once it becomes available to me. That's very much about it. If you have any question, put it in the comment box and I'll be happy to help. And once my registration is granted, I have applied in October, in the last week of October, but there were some deficiencies in my application because I was asked to appear in English test, and also there was one more thing as well. So I have applied again now, and let's see what happens, and best of luck with your application. If there's any question, please put it in the comment box, and I will be sharing another video on the PEP assessment, and also once I have the updated information about the work-based assessments, I'll be sharing another video. So if you like the video, please do subscribe and like this video. Thank you. Best of luck.